Loading. This channel is for entertainment purposes only, not to be taken as legal advice. Welcome, everybody. I'm in my other house. My house is other house. So glad to see you all today. We're going to have some great discussions. Today is a very special video, though. Very special video. The title of today's video is how to discharge 300,000 easy. It's super simple. It's not that complicated whatsoever. And we've been doing a Creditor Academy for almost 8-9 months now. When dealing with taxes, it is tax season right now. And I remember when I was running my multiple corporations or LLCs, from licensing, home health agencies, long-term care centers, assisted living facilities. I remember I had my own software company called UJack Care. And I also had my own home health agency, which was an S corporation here in Washington State when I was assisting senior citizens in their house. I remember I went from a nurse and I just said, hey, I want to start helping out people in their homes. So I'm going to be a home health care agency and got my license here in Seattle, Washington. Geez, that was like in 2019, 2020, and worked that for a couple years. And I remember when I did my licensing through the state, I wasn't even private yet. I remember my corporate taxes were due in March. They were due in March. We're in February right now. And personal taxes are due April 15th. So we're bringing in the tax year once again. And so I wanted to have a conversation today, especially to talk about corporate and personal taxes. A lot of you might just be saying to yourselves, well, Paul Michael, I'm in the private. I did my SPC. I did my status correction through another organization. I've been in this truth movement. I've been watching other gurus tell me one thing, that I'm not a taxpayer. I don't have to report the income that I make and pay taxes on it. And let me tell you, just to give you some bolstered confidence, you are right. You're absolutely right. I personally have not contributed to taxes in maybe 6.5 years, personally. But on my corporate side, I pay taxes every year. Pay taxes every single time. Personally, you are not liable for income tax. And why is that? Because of the IRS code that shows that income taxpayers are not individuals. They're not individual. They're not the American nationals that you are. Really, income is for corporations, not for individuals like yourself, the living human being. So you might be saying to yourself, oh, Paul Michael, I did a revocation of election. I gave my tax-exempt foreign status. I have been on this truth movement so long to talk about taxes that I'm not a contributor. So the question then becomes, Paul Michael, why are you talking to me about taxes if it doesn't apply to me? Well, I'm here to tell you, paying taxes or contributing to taxes, I won't even say pay, because pay is, I don't know, it's kind of out there. But contributing to taxes on the corporate level helps you greatly. I remember when I bought my first company car. It was a 2019 Volkswagen Jetta. And I remember me and my business partner, we got this vehicle, we put it up on Turo, plus we lent it out to staff who needed to do company trips. And then we got some more equipment for the company, so we needed a van. We need to expand on that. And, you know, these were all expenses for these vehicles that we applied. But regardless of that, my corporate taxes, it did stress me out. It did stress me out. Because if you have a successful business, but you don't have enough expenses to report, then you're stuck with this huge bill. You're stuck with this huge bill. Ryan Garrido, who is the instructor for our credit lines course, me and him were talking, and I was like, you know, there's some people, Ryan, that are making $1 million to $1.5 million a year in their company, and their expenses are very low. What do we do for those individuals? Randolph, the same. I mean, I don't want to speak too much on the consultations that he's had, but from what he's reported, a lot of individuals have been stuck in their finances due to the amount of taxes that they owe on their personal or their business, and it's made them stagnant in their life. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about personal taxes versus corporate taxes, and we're going to talk about my personal situation. $300,000 worth of taxes that I have to pay to the IRS. What do you do? What do you do? For many individuals in this truth movement, we've been talking a lot about, hey, Paul Michael, I need to discharge a house. I need to discharge a car. I need to discharge, I don't know, some student loan debt. You know, every time I get a house, it's on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Every time I get a vehicle, it's on a 60 to 75-month payment plan. When I talk about my student loans through nursing school, they said, you know, here's your interest rate. It's low, but we give you 6 years to pay it off. But what about taxes? What about taxes? They could put you on payment plans, but they're pretty immediate. And the taxes that you owe to the IRS, they're permanent. And they highly affect how much you're able to gain in the amount of loans or credit that's extended to you for houses, cars, personal aspects, or anything like that. So how do we deal with, really, in my opinion, the most important bill that you can have? Because if you pay off your taxes from the IRS, let me tell you, you're getting whatever you want. You go onto a bank with an IRS receipt that, hey, I made this much income in a year, and I already paid off the amount that's owed in these corporate taxes. You can walk out with whatever loan you want. I have done the same in nursing school, where I paid off my nursing school debt and I went to a bank to ask for a loan. They didn't care about that. I paid off a vehicle. They didn't care about that. Paid off one of my houses that was in Texas. They didn't care about that. They were like, great, you got some equity. But it doesn't matter as much as the tax return, because the tax return shows two things. It shows the debt that you owe to the IRS, and it shows the income from the that you made for the year for your corporation from the IRS. A house doesn't do that. It just shows, hey, you were able to satisfy the monthly mortgage, and maybe you made a small profit overhead. Doesn't matter about the car or the vehicle. Great, you put it up on Turo, you made the payments with your 9-to-5 job, but that doesn't affect how much of a loan we're going to give you. Doesn't matter about your credit cards. Hey, I spent this much for a vacation or personal expenses or gasoline with cash back. Great, you were able to pay it off. It shows that you're responsible, will raise your credit score, but it does not affect the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we can extend to you in a loan like a tax return does. We have one of our advisors here today to talk a little bit about that with us, Randolph. Randolph, I want to get your input on just your personal experience. You know, you've worked in the corporate world yourself, just like I have. How much do taxes in your tax return and how much you owe on taxes affect how much of the loan you can get from a bank?
Yeah, great question. The end of the day is if you're doing your corporate, are you paying quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, or are you enjoying all the benefits that you're doing there, and then all of a sudden you're saddled at the end of the year with your tax consequences? Look, the end of the day is that you can accept for value taxes, period, bar none. We've been very, very, very successful with doing that. So really what you're trying to do is straddle. Do you want to try to be tax exempt? With Paul Michael's talking about it in the private, probably a smart move. But now on the corporate side, whether you're going to do a C corporation, S corporation, there are some tax benefits that you can work to your benefit. Why? Because of recoupment. Meaning that if you're going to pay a lot in taxes and you file correctly, you can get all of that back, less a fee on the back end typically for the accountant. So really what it boils down to is the strategy is, what are you trying to accomplish? If you're interested in playing the public game, through some of our affiliates, you have franchises, which are basically business in a box. What a good way to go. But really what it boils down to here is the tax advantage. Look, sometimes it is to your benefit to participate in the tax game because you can get the recoupment back and you get the benefit of the tax deductions. So it's all about the strategy and, more importantly, of having a good team, hence an accountant, so on and so forth, that understands the scope of what you're trying to do. And the biggest thing, and it's not a knock against accountants. There's a lot of wonderful firms out there, but you're going to see more of your boilerplate, such as, so we say H&R Block, Tax Liberty, and everything. They're just going to take and report the taxes of what you did last year. Where you take more of a financial plan look and saying, okay, if you keep duplicating what you're doing, yeah, you're going to have tax consequences. But if you start implementing financial planning with that and understanding the quarterly basis here, how that can be a benefit to you, you're going to do tremendously well. So it's about empowerment with education. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Randolph. And, during this tax season, there's a lot from our corporations that we have to consider. And, my bank, Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, they're just saying, hey, Paul Michael, you want to go ahead and get a line of credit from us. We need 3 things from you. We want to see your income. We want to see your credit score. And we want to see your tax statements. And I said, what happens if I report to you a great income, a great credit score, but most importantly, that tax, income that I'm able to satisfy? And it's like, Paul Michael, we'll give you whatever you want. You're a perfect candidate because you match everything that our underwriters were looking for. I was just like, well, man, I'm looking for $1 million or $1.5 million, to show my income and stuff like that, so I can get some really good loans. You know what the IRS says that? Well, the IRS says, hey, yeah, if you want to claim $1.5 million, $2 million, that's fine, but you're going to pay us $300,000 in taxes to do it. There's no way around it. $1 million to $1.5 million is huge money. It really is huge money. And I would use that responsibly. I would use that in investments in either companies or real estate or investments that my great friends in my investment firm that I'm a part of would recommend to me. But at the end of the day, they're just like, well, Michael, that's great to report that amount of an income, but how are you going to pay the taxes? And that's why people don't report big corporate taxes. So how do you get around a $300,000 bill? You know, ever since I started Creditor Academy, Randolph and I have had consultations with individuals that would say, oh, got this huge mortgage that I need to discharge. Oh, I got this car loan that I need dealt with. Oh, I got these student loans or credit card bills that I've been dealing with. Let me tell you, there is no bigger bill in your life that can do the most for you than the one that you have to pay to the IRS. It's true. You have to, most of the time, if you want to get a huge loan for the things that you want in life, you got to satisfy the IRS to do that. And there's no greater way to satisfy a bill that's $300,000, $500,000, $1 million worth of taxes that you got to pay than to have an account with a bond that's already established with the Treasury. And that's why SPC is so important. Your SPC and status correction is what gives you the avenue to fill that level of debt. I know a lot of you are fixated on houses. You're fixated on cars. You're fixated on your student loans or your credit cards. Let me tell you, that $100 million bond that you see so many different organizations setting up for you, that $100 million bond will go through, you'll spend it in 6 to 10 years real fast on taxes. Taxes are the biggest bill you will pay in your life. They will, because it gives you the largest amount of benefit. You pay off those taxes by the IRS, the ones that you say, I don't know them. I'm not an income tax reporter, whatever it is that you heard from other channels. Let me tell you, you go into any bank with that tax form statement, they give you whatever you want. Period, bar none. Give you whatever you want. So that's why this March I have corporate taxes to report. I have more than 300,000 that I have to pay. I'm going to show you guys. I've seen a lot of other guru networks. They'll show Treasury tax returns. They're like Treasury. Randolph, you know what I'm talking about? You see other individuals or organizations, they show like a Treasury tax return. It's like 30,000, 50,000, something like that. You know what I'm talking about? It's got the Statue of Liberty on it. You know what I'm talking about?
No, unfortunately, you were breaking up before. I didn't quite understand you. What was your question?
So it was the Treasury like tax return check, you know, a check from the Treasury. Have you ever seen that before?
Oh, yeah. You got a picture of the Statue of Liberty on it. Yeah, that's pretty well standard, their printout form.
You know, I have seen, I'm going to show an image of it. I have seen so many guru networks that, I mean, that they promote it all year round, right? It looks like this. You know, they say, hey, follow my channel. I'm the guru for you because I got this United States Treasury check. Ever seen that before?
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's their standard operating check.
Right. Exactly. And, you know, you want to follow these channels because they say, oh, man, I did my 1099. I did my 1040 ES. And they'll show you this little United States Treasury check, which, by the way, I've gotten these almost every single year on my corporate businesses, you know, just running legitimate or to the standard quo and stuff like that. But I'm here to tell you, you want to be really impressed by an organization, a guru network, or something like that, is don't look at the United States Treasury checks that they receive. Have them show you a bill like 300,000 or more from the Treasury Department and say, hey, you fucking owe us. And have them discharge that. You discharge that, you're free and clear. You can get whatever you want. I don't care if it's a Lamborghini. I don't care if it's a mansion in the Hamptons. The IRS, in showing your income and your tax paid off on the debt on that, is all you need, because it's not satisfying the need of what the bank is looking for or how much is in your account. It's what the underwriter is looking for. And they're looking for three things. Number one, they're looking for income. Income is just as whatever is deposited into your account. I had one individual inside of our trade lines course with Ryan Garrido, amazing guy, amazing. And he only has $100 to his name, $100, works a minimum wage job. Transfers $100 from 3 accounts that he has, 3 business accounts. So it's $100 to $100 to $100, right? And he does that 3 times a day. That's $300. It shows an income for each of those 3 entities. One entity is paying the other, the one is paying the next, and the one paying the first, right? He does that 30 days out of the month. So he's making $300 on paper a day times 30 days, which is 1 month, 12 months out of the year. It comes out just from $100 on circulating it, $108,000 in revenue a year, just off of $100. If you do the math on that. And he has all 3 of the banks automating that. He has it automated. So he doesn't have to do an ACH bank transfer, it's just automated. So now he's got 3 business entities making $108,000 a year. He reports to the IRS that he's making $108,000 a year per entity. So that's over $324,000 a year between all 3 entities that he owns. So now he's got the income, he's got the tax return. Now, what's the third thing that he needs? Who can tell me what the third thing is that he needs? David, what's the third thing? David.
Credit.
What is it?
Expenses.
Well, the expenses are absolutely important. I would say it's credit. It's got to show
credit,
right? It's got to have good credit. Ryan and Randolph are great at showing credit. Absolutely phenomenal. They build business credit. You just need, 700, 800 score or whatnot. So we show you step by step on how to do that. But if you got a great credit score for your business, you got great income for your business, and you have an amazing IRS statement, dude, you're getting whatever you want, man. David, is anything I'm saying too complicated? Does this make sense what I'm saying?
I'm actually looking forward to filing my taxes in that case.
I'm looking forward to filing my taxes, right? Exactly. And I want to give you confidence in that because, David, I'm here to tell, you're a smart guy within itself. But Randolph, how do you deal? So if I submit these tax forms, should I be worried if I got my SPC and status correction? you know, how do I deal with corporate taxes thereafter? I mean, you're the expert. I mean, of everybody at Creditor Academy and all the clients you had, taxes is your wheelhouse. Randolph, how do you deal with that?
Real easy. There's so many ways to work with the IRS. They're just a big accounting firm. That's all they are. You don't have zero fear. You're not going to jail. There is no real money. So be mindful of that. Okay, you can't pay a debt with a debt. You can ask. I'll give you a free nugget. All you got to do is any kind of return here and the allegation that you owe taxes. Just send it back to them. Say, you know what? Please certify under penalties and perjury the actual true and correct counting of this, and please certify under penalties and perjury this is a lawful obligation. We're going to discharge it. Okay, that one's on the house there. That is just one way. Taxes are voluntary. They are not mandatory. So really, it's all about how you present yourself in your cover letter and you talk to them. Here, I'll throw out another nugget. You can walk in any IRS office there and show me there in your big fat book of 4,000 pages where I owe lawful money. Can't. It's not there. So look at the bottom line there where it says certify under penalties of perjury. Turn around and hand them that sheet and give it to the IRS agent. You know what? Here's the Form 56. I now appoint you as the trustee on this. You certify under penalties and perjury that this dollar amount is owed. They'll never do it. They're going to discharge it. That's just a couple of them. I got like another 20 of them. They're fail-proof. It's the end of the day here. Those people will commit a crime if they don't give you your remedy when it comes to the IRS.
Wow.
That's on the house. If you want more information on this or own back taxes, just get a hold of me in consultation. Obviously, I can't talk all about this in a public forum here, but that's just the law. You know, it's color of law. So really all I got to do is I'm going to help guide you and show you where you need to be and actually how to move in a combination of support of your SPC and your change of status paperwork, which is your foundation. I use that for everything. So get to know that paperwork, and you will always turn out very favorable if you do it correctly.
Randolph, I hope you realize you just got your consultations booked up for the next 2 months. So, you know, I hope you can deal with
Taxes are easy, people. They're real easy. They don't overthink it. They're very easy. Just get a hold of me and walk you right through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why, you know, Randolph, you're the main instructors for Creditor Academy, and we're really happy to have you not only here for the Academy, but also to show people the path to freedom is a lot easier than what you've been researching on Google, on YouTube, and other networks. It really falls under three aspects, or three pillars that we have here at Creditor Academy. The first one is what Randolph covers very eloquently, is become private. You have to become private in order to be in this movement. This is your SPC and your status correction. SPC gives you control not only over your financial instruments, but it also creates the account at the Treasury Department. So you can use bonds to discharge, or like Randolph says, he's got another 100 ways to deal with corporate and personal taxes. The second part is the status correction, to show that you're not part of the corporation, you're part of the constitutional republic by which that you're operating. I stand on my status correction, period, bar none. Every time I go to court, I'm dealing with a ticket or anything like that, pulling out my status correction documentation to do it. The second aspect, which is I'm actually the instructor for, is what's called operate privately. So now that you are private, now you need to know how to operate in the private, which is really just using private entities to own cars, houses, businesses, etc., instead of you taking the personal liability of that. So I show you through business trusts, private membership associations, and so much more in operate privately. It's one of my favorite subjects. Then finally, you got, after you become private and know how to operate in the private, what's the last aspect that you need to learn, which is basically build unlimited credit. It truly is unlimited. And with your private entities and your private status, you can build unlimited credit. And that's Ryan Garrido's class. He's the instructor for. He's booked out. He's absolutely booked out. He's doing a great job here at Creditor Academy, just like Randolph. I'm just, I used to have consultations booked out for me. Not anymore. It's just people want to talk to Randolph. Hey, how can I discharge shit? And then people look up Ryan. Hey, how can I build up business credit so I can buy stuff? Me, they're just like, oh, you're the nuance of the paperwork and stuff like that. But that's 3 pillars of the academy, and we're excited to. I mean, that's everything you need, man. That really is, and we get straight to the point. So we're really happy to help you in your endeavor of your success. So today's class was all about discharging $300,000 worth of debt or credit that you owe to the IRS. It's really simple. It really is. Once you have your status correction and your SPC, just talk to Randolph and he's got you. And I'm here to tell you, I mean, I'm not even being esoteric about this. You ask any businessman or woman, hey, if I bring in an IRS statement that I made $1.5 million in a year and that I owe no debt to the IRS for the $1.5 million that I made, you think a bank would extend me a loan or a line of credit for that? Bet your ass they will. Absolutely, they will. David Greenberg, let's go to you for questions.
Awesome, Paul Michael. And by the way, I've had consultations with all 3 of you gentlemen. It was definitely worth it, just sharing that. So I look forward to more when it's appropriate. I just wanted to share something additional at a high level, just to reinforce what you were saying about the discharge. Just like Randolph was saying, there's different ways to do it. I haven't done this myself yet, but I have people in my network that have, and then in one of my mentorship circles. And in equity, there's also a remedy where you can do, it's probably very similar. You can do what's called a banker's acceptance of that presentment. And it's accompanied with a type of notice that is an equitable notice. It's a very streamlined process. It's very simple. The other thing interesting about equity is you don't have to have a status correction to use that process in particular. It may help, I don't know, but they don't require it, in the jurisdiction. So I just wanted to add that. It's not that's not meant to teach people how to do it. I just wanted to share that there's another way to do it out there. So just kind of add to the fire.
Let me say that out of all the processes that I use, it's what you just stated that I use the most, banker's acceptance. It's simple. It gives my signature of authority. I do have my status correction with it because I like to throw my badge and ID number. But, I mean, it's exactly that, because I can even get a stamp for it and just say, oh, here's my stamp.
Here it is.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Show it to the camera.
I don't know if I have it upside down or not.
What does it say?
Yeah. And I just wanted to jump in real quick. David, thank you very, very much, because that is one of the things I talk about, the banker's acceptance through equity. Very, very strong, very solid. So wonderful input. That is some of the things I discussed. But I never have pushback in that remedy either. So you nailed it. I like that one. So people, like I say, don't anguish. There's so many ways of doing that. But what David just shared with us is highly effective also. Thank you, David.
It's just another, you're welcome. It's just another tool for your toolkit. That's the way I look at it. And I'm pleased to hear, Paul Michael, that you've used that. So you obviously have firsthand experience with it. That's great.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not as fancy as your stamp, so I'll have to ask you who your provider is. So Absolutely. And David is one of our advisors as well. You know, we have a great partnership. You should check out his YouTube channel. You know, if you could, David, say what your channel is as well.
Yeah, I mean, the platform's called the Freedom Studio, just like Creditor Academy. We're a private organization focused principally on education. We have a pretty close alignment with what the Creditor Academy is doing, because our tagline is practical strategies for living privately. So it's really all about that. We do a lot with trusts. I'm very fascinated by trusts, and now PMAs too. I'm kind of following in your footsteps there. Learning from Kathleen Acker. She's the PMA expert that we work with, and one of our advisors. But yeah, I mean, it's just affiliations. It's basically just, you know, parallel paths, trying to get the word out more. It's called the Freedom Studio. If you don't mind, Paul Michael, I can just share the link here. I don't want to step on it.
Yeah, put it in the chat. Absolutely. Yeah. If anything, David,
yeah,
this is why we promote the after hours. Like, if people want to be in these after hours, go to creditoracademy.com right now, hit the Tuesday link, and you'll get everything. You'll get all of David's information. You'll get our information as well with our advisors and so on. So it's a great community to be a part of.
It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I just so for everybody at YouTube, if you haven't subscribed or you haven't hit the notification bell, do so right now. If you haven't joined our private Facebook group, you should. It's over 3,000 members, including Yusef El himself is a member of Creditor Academy, and some other huge guru networks as well that are part of our platform. But let me tell you, you know, I've been in this truth movement for quite some time. And I've really followed Patrick Devine to a T. I love Patrick Devine. He is the inspiration by which I even created this channel and this network. And let me tell you, he always talked about banking. Banking was the most important aspect to get anything done. So what Creditor Academy is no less the same. We're preparing you for the most important conversation of your life. It's only one meeting, and that's with your banker. They're going to ask you three things. What's your credit? What is your IRS statement? You know, how much income that you made on your IRS statement and what you pay in your taxes. And what's your bank statement on what your income is? It's everything the underwriter is going to ask you. It's what they asked me for my entire life, even before I got into the private sovereign movement. We can prepare you in the private for that conversation. You can get whatever you want. There's no restriction whatsoever. We're going to go to questions now. John, all rights reserved. Let's go to you. Johnny. Amazing. You're on mute. He's like, I got to hit that mute button. I got to hit it. EN, let's go to you while John gets his mute button figured out.
Hi. So my question, this is the third time I've tuned into your broadcast, and so I'm really new at this whole movement, and I've got to be honest, I didn't understand anything you said today. Yeah. And particularly David's comment about bankers' acceptance. And I am scribbling down notes, but I just feel like I don't have a frame of network yet to be able to make these associations. And I understand you have to do status correction first, right, and then correct me if I'm wrong, and then SPC.
Correct. Yeah, become private is those two transactions. Absolutely.
So what's the end goal? I do feel like I'm interested in what you're teaching. I'm not sure what the end goal is. I've noticed that a lot of people who tune in are really trying to discharge debt. If someone doesn't have debt though,
Right.
What is the benefit of what's the biggest bang for the buck, I guess. I'm not really clear on the end goal, but I do think that there's something interesting here. But for me personally, where I don't
I'm gonna
have,
go
I'm
ahead
not
and
trying
jump
to
in for a
discharge
second.
debt.
Yeah, sure. Randolph, one of our advisors, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, what happens if you are in a position here and you're doing very well within the public arena here and you don't acquire debt? What goes on and going forward here of why, in my personal opinion, once again, all for educational purposes, we're not attorneys, this is not legal advice, but if you ever find yourself, example, say you're going down and you're 55 miles per hour and you do 60, and then one of these public officers decides to put on his lights. Well, that's a felony because there's not an injured party. So when you have this paperwork, you hand them the questionnaire that is a part of our package here, and this individual must identify himself and quite candidly, are you a suspect in your crime? And if you're not, your civil rights have just been violated. When you have this paperwork in order, based upon your position of how you are, what you want to do, non-combatant, non-belligerent, you have a tort claim. And based upon the fee schedule, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million, what it does, it's an empowerment here of we the people, we're just traveling in this circumstance down the road. We're not drivers in commerce, meaning you're not working for Uber or anything else. But if you're just traveling every day, this paperwork is going to assert your position. And in the event here that you do tort claims and you end up leading people or their insurance, this paperwork stands on its own. So what it does, it gives you the legal enforcement that you can operate as a non-citizen national, which is very, very powerful. So that's the external factor here, is that you're always in a position to take care of your civil rights, is what our founding fathers is all about. This gives you the true form to go forward. That's
Right.
it, pretty much in a nutshell.
So, and I'm not interested in driving around with a private plate.
No, and if I can add to that, as Randolph was just stating as one of the examples, it's the right to be left alone. As one example, which is to be private, is not to be harassed, bothered by anybody on traveling privately, but just in many aspects of life. On the second hand of side.
If you travel, so I do travel commercially though, and I don't know how a private plate would benefit me, but I'm not also interested in drawing attention having a private plate.
Many people are not. Many people are just like me. Like I live in, or my address shows that I live in an area called Shelton, Washington. Tabs, registration costs like $30. It's not much at all, and it's like, okay, Paul Michael, great. A travel, even paying for registration and tabs, it's not that much anyways. So how does this whole movement affect me anyways? The other side of this is what I consider the big game, that money is not real since 1933. It's just all credits. There's no monetary system that is backed by gold or silver anymore. So with that being said, our entire lives are operated in commerce, but commerce not in gold and silver, but in credit. Buy houses, cars, and so on credit. So what we do is we really, Creditor Academy is not for people with money problems, it's people with credit problems. And in order to establish credit and also your standing in the constitutional republic, you need to become private, know how to operate in the private, and build this unlimited credit in the private as well. So the majority of individuals that come with us that are just like, hey, Paul Michael, what is this movement truly about? Is It's really just about building credit and building the life that you wanted to have, where the public school system taught you if you want the life that you've always dreamed of, you have to have a doctorate, a lawyer degree, a master's degree, or have an employer that paid you an extremely high wage to become rich and to make it. But really, it was just knowing how to privately operate and build credit off of that. And what is your comments off of what I just said, or any additional questions off of my remarks?
So when you're saying build credit, if someone already has their credit established, is there still value in this course, I guess, because I'm not looking for any sort of remedy in trying to repair credit. My credit's high.
Yeah.
I have no debt. So I guess what's in it for me?
Absolutely.
I understand what's in it for people who are want to discharge their mortgage or cars. I get that. And if they have bad credit, but what about the other side of the spectrum that doesn't have issues like that?
Start a business, Ann.
I already have one.
Okay.
Okay.
Then build it.
Hold on, Ryan Winters. I appreciate you commenting on this. But you asked the best question. Honestly, I do these live courses every Tuesday and Thursday. Very few individuals ask me as good of a question as that. I'm actually really impressed by your question. In order to answer your question, I have my personal input, but rather I like to show off my instructors. Ryan Garrido, if you can come in this and make an analogy on what we do at Creditor Academy, but also apply it to any specific situation on how we can help her personally. I mean, she's got great credit. She's got, she understands other people have tough situations, but how do we help her personally? Do you have any comments to that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I came in, just wrapped up. So I came in kind of in the middle of the question, so I didn't get to hear the whole thing. But first of all, howdy. Hey, what's going on, Paul Michael? Hey, and I saw Ryan Winters in the chat. What's up, everybody? So, I just want to highlight. So first of all, congratulations on having great credit. I mean, that's not easy in today's day and age. And then secondly, the biggest bullet point, the biggest takeaway, I suppose, is that most people don't know, you may or may not, there's actually something different, personal credit and business credit. So you have your personal reporting agencies. So Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. These are going to be your personal credit score. And then you have your business credit, which is D&B, aka Dun & Bradstreet, Experian Business, Equifax Business. So I'm not sure if you're aware of them, but it's very common that a lot of people will try to build their business or even just utilize credit on their personal side and not even be aware of. I talk about this pretty frequently, but most business owners, I would say 8 out of 10, don't even know that business credit exists, let alone how to use it. So, there's other classes, SPC, there's a status correction class, but what we really talk about in the trade lines class specifically is how to build your business credit and how to obtain $100,000 to $200,000 of 0% APR credit within about 30 to 60 days, especially in the case if someone has excellent personal credit, such as yourself. So it's a really, really big advantage to have access to capital to do with whatever you want. So that's really what we talk about in the trade lines class. And have you actually heard about business credit before?
I have, yeah.
Nice. And so how do you manage those scores, or how do you manage the profile?
I'm not sure what you mean, how I manage it.
Well, I mean, so for example, have you seen your business credit reports? Do you use them frequently? Do you access them? Do you know how to view them?
For business side, it's thinner because when I initially started, they defaulted to my personal.
Yeah. So that's, so maybe they're utilized, maybe use like a PG perhaps on the business to guarantee, or like kind of like co-signing for the business on a personal level, perhaps. But what we do is we go after EIN only products, meaning that you're able to access credit only using your business. So not even utilizing your personal score at all if you don't want to. Now it does make it faster, easier, better, because you're kind of quote unquote co-signing for the debt. But if you're not interested in doing that, there are tons of EIN only products where you can get financing, 0% APR cards, travel rewards, many, many, many different perks by utilizing the business credit to the fullest capacity. So you're probably 2 steps ahead of the game, I'd say, if you've already have great personal credit and you want to establish your business credit. But yeah, this is the way to go, because ultimately, let's say you have great personal credit. Let's say you want to do something. I'm not sure what your aspirations or goals are, but let's say you're interested maybe in real estate or buying a business or scaling a business. I mean, I'll just highlight one small tiny detail, and then I'll give the floor back to Paul Michael. But the one detail that I think I see a lot is, on the personal side, in your case, if you have great credit, as you say, which it sounds like you do, then you may not be experiencing this. But on the personal side, utilization, or how much of our available credit accounts for 30% of our score. So I see a lot of people, the most common situation I see is that people will try to run their business on their personal credit, and it'll have high utilization. And the best way is to move that over to the business side. So utilization, for example, is only 10% of your score on the business, and that immediately drops down the score dramatically. And Dyson, yeah, I see you there. I mean, you could really go a decade if you wanted to without paying anything, because you can get lots of 0% APR cards and move those balances over. I mean, it's a whole business in itself. It's just how to optimize credit and how to utilize credit. So I hope that gave a kind of a high level overview of the different benefits and functions. If you're not utilizing business credit to the fullest capacity, is by far the easiest, fastest, cheapest, best way to really jumpstart or acquire assets or run a business or whatever you want to do. And so I hope that, just gave you just a quick kind of high level overview, high altitude view of what's possible, because a lot of people just simply don't know. I talk about, like, this information is uncommon amongst uncommon people. So I want to make sure you just have that opportunity to know about it, and whether you want to take action or not, it's up to you. But at least now you know that there is this potential available for you.
Sure, great. Thank you. Didn't realize I'd get the reaction in the comments. I wasn't sure. It's pretty, I don't know, just a rowdy bunch, it seems.
Yes,
People like it. Yeah. A lot of the people in here are pumped about business credit currently.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do with it that is like a gateway to a whole new world for a lot of people, especially.
Absolutely. Not only that, but you asked just not only a great question, but a question that many others have as well. And truly, it's remarkable that you even brought that up as a subject matter, because so many people are in desperate situations. Oh man, my personal credit's not good. I need restoration. I need to fix this. But what happens after it's fixed? Where do I go from here? And what's the benefit to me to go outside my personal and now into the private and build credit off of that? And that's what we're here to do, is to protect you at all costs. So I really do appreciate you bringing that up. I hope that, is this your first time joining us here at Creditor Academy and the After Hours?
This is the third time.
The third time.
Yeah.
Fantastic to hear it. You asked great questions. I hope to hear your future questions as well. And as you develop in your understanding, we hope to have you as a shining example on what we can do for you, because we're here to get people millions or more, or whatever your dream or vision is, accessible to you. And we have a great blueprint to make that happen.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I would like to actually, I'm looking at, wow, we have a lot of people's hands raised. One of the people I want to call in that has been a member or contributing here to Creditor Academy for quite some time is James Cole. James Cole, the man, the legend. I can't even call you a myth because you're so relevant, man.
How dare you?
I know. I'm not calling you a myth, man. You know, you're here, man. You are a legend himself. So,
bro, why would you draw attention to me? Now I gotta hide out and get an alias. Just when I thought it was safe. You're supposed to call me by my code name.
Yeah. Are you still shaved up and looking good,
bro?
What's the latest on you?
It's still tight. I'm still clean shaven, and I will at some point, to my advantage, I will let the beard grow.
We'll
but right now,
for now,
right now I'm still keeping it low and
keeping it
high maintenance. It's been a while. It has been a while, my friend.
Yes.
And of course, I'm still a part of the team. I actually did circle back with the new year. Of course, a lot of folks I thought of were no news is good news. Hey, everybody, I see those likes. And of course, I saw some familiar faces and hearing of the team. I'll poke in every once in a while and watch one of your lives, but I haven't been participating, just for the most part, grinding. But of course, if anything, it's just welcome, no love lost. I got it. We went through a little sticky icky. We can circle back and talk about that at another time.
Okay.
And so, but you understand what I'm talking about. But this space that we're in, of course, I am seeing the change in the landscape. So I've been in a place networking and connecting with other different bodies. And of course, sticking to my process. There's a lot of life going on. My youngest daughter is pregnant with Omari. He's due in March. So the house being, siding and windows and a lot of stuff, roofs. It's been a lot here. And then preparing her home because he's due in March, and that will be my 7th grandchild. So, woo, a lot, a lot. And so getting into the new year, I've been able to at least keep my finger on the pulse, but I have a word, and I got it. Things are developing so fast, Paul Michael, but I seen this today, and it might have taken place maybe within the last 24 hours. Did you hear about Trump signing the executive order for the American?
Yes.
Sovereign Wealth Fund. Now, man, if you got a think tank that's been in this space, of course, where I'm at, I wrote an article for Project 2025, also for the first 100 days. I said, okay, this is my first 100 days. So I've been just putting some things out, building some networks, and getting the feel of those who are in that same space and connecting to other groups. But bro, you got any insight? And I got it. It's fresh. It's new. And I know it's a good place because we're in a good place if this is the executive officer building and ramping this thing up. So you got anything to say on that or any insight?
I do, because I've been following it. I've been following it closely. What James is speaking about is about the new, I don't know if it was an executive order or a bill that Trump signed, which is I like to call it the sovereign investments. The reason why is because that makes more sense to me.
Right.
It's utilizing private corporations where public for government investment. TikTok is one of those examples.
That's right.
Trump wants to use the government to invest in TikTok. They would be a small percentage owner, maybe 15, maybe 20%, something like that. But the income that they would generate from TikTok, they would give back to the American people. His idea is similar to tariffs. And to get rid of the income tax and to utilize tariffs as the main form of income for American people. And so this is just another avenue for that. So it's generating income for the country, which should lower income tax. Trump has already lowered income taxes, as he said, to 15%. Now he's talking about 0. Now he's just saying, let's go back to tariffs.
Okay.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
Yeah. And I just heard this
Uh,
within the 30 minutes. I'm sorry for cutting your wisdom. I just
Yeah.
heard this within the 30 minutes, maybe 20. And then I said, let me get over to my man. It's been a long time. It'd be a good place, of course, to just, of course, greet and then see what your thoughts are. But I'm going to unpack this. And I
Yeah.
did see the speech. I did see the speech. He mentioned sovereign 3 times. Now, of course, he does speak credit. So I hear this. I'm thinking this is the 2 wings on the one bird. This
Right.
guy is covering the whole base. Now, of
Yeah.
course, that's the space where we'll know at some point what that really looks like. But he's making the declarations. He's making the presentment, and it's out there.
It's out
Now,
there.
what that looks like and how and what form, that's that's maybe too soon to tell. But knowing that we've been in our process, what it did put a little bit of fire under me. Like, dude,
Yeah.
circle back, get things tight again. And so I'll be checking in with you guys on the regular here on our Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so,
Well, James, it's great to have you back, man. I mean, honestly, you're I've been using just to give you some personal input on what I've done in my life is my copyrights, man, over to the a Library of Congress, dude. I've been doing that with Creditor ever since I shared with you, and you're just like, dude, you ever done rights with the Library of Congress? I was like, dude, I'm doing that every day now.
So I should expect something in my cash app, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
meddling. You know I'm meddling.
that right now.
John, Paul, this I'm meddling. I'm a rascal.
Yeah.
I've already in my end game set my heart to be on your team. Because of that, where you've been in this place of mentoring, sharing that wealth, and of course that extension out of that's the person in the heart of when he shares, that's already success. That's succession plan. And so I've already made that a point in mind. I get it. We had to deal with some other things that were going on that was just a blockage. But just know that in your heart, that was my intention, is my intention to be in this place to teach, encourage in that space of where it is I can raise up others because I believe in you, believe in what it is that you're doing. And of course, that is a part of where that's legacy, man, at the end of the day. We can make a thing of cash.
I believe it.
That legacy thing, I got more years behind me than in front of me.
And, as you notice, James, you're still here. Others that we know who to talk about are not here.
I understand. That happens. That's happening. Hey, you know what? That happens. It actually transitions in ways that that is where it was. And now
that is where it was.
I can move forward with knowing that this is the squad we got.
she was even saying, hey, you heard about James? And I was like, yeah, nothing but good things. And she was like, well, I have comments. And I was like, I don't know what you're thinking of saying and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know who that is or what that is.
I don't know what that is, man.
Right.
On your, dude, I knew you're a straight shooter since day one, dude. So, it all worked itself out.
Yeah, and here it is. I'll digress and let folks who are having their hand. And again, I'll circle back with you. It's again delight to see you. Again, I've been able to kind of tap in. I said, this man is moving. He's calm. He's reserved. He's got things in order in a way it's in hand. And so I've seen the refining, of course, the maturity, and I got it. We're getting bumped left and right, but to see that, there are those. I got it. They calm on the top, but those legs underneath the water like a duck, trust me, there's a whole lot going on under there. But
there's a lot going on.
Yes. But to be calm under fire, my friend, is a skill set. And if it was something we could buy and get it at Walmart, we all would have it. But that's
exactly. And that's why you and I are still on top. So she's figuring it out.
It's all good. And I yield. Thanks everybody for everybody's patience and being here. I yield.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for that tidbit from months and months ago. So greatly appreciate it. Let me go to, I've never seen an Andreas Natel. Let's go to you. I would love to hear from you, my friend. What is your question here at Creditor Academy?
I'm curious, like we have so many people that are homeless here in Los Angeles, and what can be done with them? How do we help them?
Are you homeless in LA?
I had my last gig was a live-in caretaker gig, and she never filled out her paperwork so that I could get paid through the Social Security Administration for all the work that I did for her, and it was just it felt like extortion and like human trafficking, and I just had to leave, and I never got paid for all the work that I did, and now I'm just like couch surfing from one place to the next. I have my secured party creditor filing on out there. It's been filed. I have had success discharging a car I was leasing through Ford Drive LLC that I was using to drive for Uber. I just sent the bill of exchanges back to them, and they were able to credit that to my account, but they canceled my ability to continue driving for Uber. And I've been living out of leased cars for a while to drive for Uber off and on, and couch surfing. I was thinking one of the ideas is there's a way when you apply for a secured credit card where they want the payment up front. I was thinking to mail out a bill of exchange in advance, send that out, and I was hoping that maybe that would be a way to get access to the credits through a credit card, a secured credit card.
Yeah. Andreas, let me start off by saying that thank you for your service with the caregiving. I know what that's like. I've done home health for nursing for 7 years. And I work for Visiting Angels, Bright Star, long-term care centers and stuff like that. And I remember even starting my own home health agency here in Seattle called Atlas Home Wellness. I remember I would send out CNAs or caregivers, and the patient wouldn't pay. They say, "Oh, I'm going to pay you. Oh, I got retirement. Oh, don't worry. There's cash in the bank account. Just show up 9 to 5 every day, Monday through Friday. Help me wipe my butt," which I did many of times. And then as soon as the bill would come at the end of the month, they wouldn't pay. Is that what happened with you?
Correct. And this individual was a hoarder, and
Yeah.
I could barely stand straight in the building trying to wash dishes, and
Yeah.
it really sucked.
That is tough. I've been in a lot of hoarders' houses. I've cleaned them. Not only cleaned, but like you, also cared for the patient themselves. And you're trusting of individuals, and even in their 90s, they're taking advantage of people. I'm sorry to hear that, but this is why you need to ask for cash up front for the month. Hard lesson that I had to learn myself as well. But let's get to the point here. The title of this YouTube channel is Discharge $300,000. Easy. I want to ask you, Andreas, who do you bank with?
When my Chase Bank was closed, I did something stupid where I got a check in the mail for another corporation, and it was $80,000, and I just said fuck it, and I deposited it, and they credited it to the account, but then they took it back from the account, and then they closed my account for fraud. Right now I bank with PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. They all have banks behind them, and you can get credit cards with them, just virtual banks. And what's the other one? There's I think Capital One, I have a bank account with them too, a virtual bank.
Okay, so I want to help you because there's a lot of people watching our YouTube channel right now that are in your situation. They want to discharge $300,000. They want to figure out how they can use their current banking relationship to leverage credit and kind of go from there. But in order to help you out, I wanted to find you out where you are in your journey. Have you done status questioning your SPC yet? Where have you come across in this truth movement as a whole? Like where are you at?
I've been studying a lot of Patrick Devine's work, getting into his calls. I've studied your channel quite a lot. I've I did my SPC with Sovereign Filing Solutions, and they have like the Sovereign Defense Ministry, but they just want more money for all their documents that they're sharing, like the really valuable ones. They just want more and more money.
Wow.
And I just, yeah.
So what's the end goal with Sovereign Filing Solutions? Are they showing you how to discharge stuff? I only know my program. I don't know many others, but so you do their paperwork. Where are they leading you?
I mean, they do the $100 million bond, and then after that, you pay either, I think 500 if you want it done, and 750 for the expedited, which I did, and I had major problems with that because my identification of my trustee never went through, and then finally went through on the solar eclipse last year, which was magical. And then it was interesting because like I was able to discharge the loan money before I had this SPC in place. But it's just like they just want more money for more books and stuff to learn. Like they don't hold your hand. They don't like really talk to you. It's just study this, do it on your own.
Okay. So if you had somebody every single week for class that you can ask questions to, that would be beneficial?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ryan, I would love for you to have a comment to what Mr. Andreas is talking about right now.
Oh man, Andreas, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. I mean, it happens so frequently, So just to be clear, I run the trade lens class in the academy. So Wednesdays and Fridays, we talk about establishing business credit. And, I'm just, it sucks. I've also lived in my car before. A long time ago, I was kicked out of my parents' house. I was actually driving for Uber at the time. No, it was Lyft. I had a rental car they gave me for free as part of a pilot program. And then I was staying at my parents' house for like 6 months, and they said, "Oh, you gotta leave the coop." I was like 20 something. They said, "It's time to get out." And I was homeless just a few days. And then luckily I had a friend of mine who let me live in his basement. And then I was able to kind of get a place to live. But man, oh man, if I knew what I knew now at that time, my whole course of my life would have been completely different. So what I want to tell you, man, is you can get any money you want within 15 to 30 days from now, maybe 60, depending on how bad your credit situation is. So I want to put this out to everyone. Everyone in this group who has bad personal credit. So we think a lot of times like, oh, I have I have to wait 7 years for a late payment. I have to wait 2 years for a hard inquiry. And because of I have some collection accounts, I have some things on my credit, which I may or may not have actually done. We don't know. So either way, I have these things on my credit and it's prohibiting me from living the life I want to live. I'm bouncing around between jobs. I'm trying to find a place to live. I'm living out of my car. Guys, you are in control of your credit reports. They put you in an illusion. You're caught in a Maya. You're in a karmic cycle. They have you trapped in a facade. You are in. Just let that sink in. You are in 100% control over your credit report, both personal and business. If there's derogatories on there, they can be removed. If there's things on there that are stopping you from accessing new credit, they can be removed. You can build new credit and you can get yourself set up and not have to be stuck under the burden of those previous experience, right? You can take that life lesson that you learned and carry onward and immediately have access to whatever you want. So you don't have to work for a job getting paid, let's say $20 an hour, $15 an hour, whatever it is. And then how long will it take you to access $5,000 if that's the case? I don't know, a few months. Maybe if you get paid $2,000 every 2 weeks, something like that. Or you repair your credit, takes 30 to 60 days. And then now you're sitting on 10 grand, even on the personal side, to do whatever you want with. So what I'm trying to tell everyone here in the group, if you are stuck in that position, if you're sitting there, I have no cash, I got no bad credit, I have nothing I can do, I'm just stuck. You're not stuck. You are in full and total control. And it's just a matter of taking that control back and being the one in the driver's seat rather than be, they put you in the passenger seat and then they convince you that you don't know how to drive. The same exact thing in the entire movement. The reality is that you're in the driver's seat and you've been in the driver's seat the entire time. The analogy I always use is a Wizard of Oz. It's exactly the same. You hear this loud booming voice echoing across the room. And you think, oh, it must be this terrible giant who's going to attack me if I go against it. And then you pull back a curtain and it's just a little 3-foot guy hanging out there with a voice explosion. Yeah, Michael, there you go. Michael just got 100 points out of his credit score, I think, last week. So he just put a comment here in the chat. So anyway, Andres, just don't be discouraged. What you want to do is hire me for a consult. Now, that's a sales pitch, I know, but everyone's case is different. So unfortunately, in the trade lines class, I can't talk about personal credit because I'm just teaching everyone how to access business credit. Let me just take 1 second and just explain briefly. So you have personal credit, which is your 3 reporting agencies: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. These are what we call personal credit reporting agencies. They have your personal score. So on a consult, what I can do is work with you to get any derogatory, late payment, collection, erroneous addresses, inquiries off of your report through the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. There are many, many, many laws and statutes that protect you as the consumer from having things on your account which you do not explicitly authorize. So that's very, very straightforward and simple. That's the first step of the game. The next step is optimizing, creating your business credit profile. So on your LLC, your S Corp, your C Corp, whatever you have set up, optimizing your business credit by adding trade lines, aka net 30, net 60 accounts, having a established credit profile, and then being able to access between $100,000 to $200,000 of available credit within someone who has newer credit that they're trying to repair, maybe 60 to 90 days. Someone like the person that came up earlier, I think it was N, that someone like that, 30 to 60 days. So there's a little bit, 30 days extra. I think you could wait. You were struggling for how many years? I think 30 extra days or 60 extra days is okay. But either way, that's what you can do. So I just want to really just rip off that Band-Aid of, oh, woe is me, I'm stuck, I'm trapped, I've been trying to, it feels like, like Prometheus or whoever the guy was just pushing that boulder up the hill for eternity.
Yes.
You're to get capital to do whatever you want with. So empower you with that.
Exactly. Ryan, I'm glad you had to say what you had to say. Randolph, do you have anything to add to that? Because, man, Ryan's on a roll. I'm on a roll. We want to help out Andreas. Randolph, do you have anything, comments to make?
Yeah, Andres, obviously, God bless you. Our hearts go out to you, period, bar none. Let's just keep it real. We're all one big family. We're all in the journey together, trying to get ahead. Just words of wisdom is Ryan, and to echo what Paul Michael said. Stay strong, stay focused, and remember, you must assert your position to have a position. And my mentor taught me that back in the late 2000s. So in other words, this is your character building time. It sucks. You've been burnt. It's time to roll up the sleeves. Say, you know what? I'm gonna take a look at the man in the mirror and make it happen. I know these are just being words to you, but I share this just being, in the game of life. Try to stay strong, take a deep breath, and make a plan of action. And just a couple steps today, a couple steps tomorrow, and then within a week, you should have some clarity. So with that, stay strong, my friend.
Absolutely. Andreas, you had all 3 instructors, from Randolph, from becoming private, myself operating in private, and Ryan to building unlimited credit. Do you feel more at peace, more do you know the path in front of you? Like, how else can we help you?
I just still feel confused and don't know where to start.
I would start with Randolph. Become private. Become private. Then I'll help you operate in the private. And after you become private and know how to use entities to operate in the private, Ryan can help you build unlimited credit with your private entities.
I mean, I got the private banker number. I got the estate number, EIN number. I even tried to send in all my credit card bills to the IRS. And I sent in the
Right.
transfer by deed to the IRS as well.
Right.
And, they didn't.
There's one thing you did not do. There's one thing you did not do. You didn't go to creditoracademy.com and fill our contact us form. And a educational counselor will get you into the become private, operate in private, and build unlimited credit courses. And you're set for the rest of your life, dude. I'm here to tell you there's nothing more you need to learn.
Awesome.
Amazing. Amazing. With that being said, Saint, the Saint himself will want to answer your question. Saint, what do you have to ask for us at Creditor Academy today?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I have like two questions. All right. I'm glad the class was about Texas because I'm about to receive like a large amount of money. But first, I want to protect the money.
Right.
So you mentioned living in the private. So
right.
What do I put it in a broker account or without using my SSN, or do I use EIN?
No. You tell Ryan and Randolph to pay all your bills for you. Forget their lives. Just pay all your bills.
Okay.
But the first question I have for you, really, in no joking matter, is: are you in the private? Have you become private? Do you have your SPC and status correct?
So I did. I think I did a passport, or like a while back, I did a state.
Amazing.
National citizen from a different group.
You've never been a part of Creditor Academy.
No, but I will though, because there's a couple things I want to do.
Yeah.
All right. First, because once I get the money, then I want to take also your trust class. But so I've been watching a lot of your videos. I got the FGT. I have the banker's EIN, but I didn't get the estate EIN because I have good personal credit, and I don't know, like I didn't know that once I get my estate EIN, I didn't know if I could still use my regular SSN. So that's why I just didn't commit to getting the estate EIN yet.
Get the estate EIN and then go get a non-interest bearing trust account and deposit.
You know what?
Your
Not even that. And the reason why I say that, John, is because out of everybody at the academy, myself included, no one is as experienced as Randolph. Randolph has been through the most. He knows the system. He knows really what it is to become private, operate in the private, and build this unlimited credit very well. And thus so, he knows it so well from the foundational paperwork that you really need to start with him. Because Saint, your issue is not, oh, I got this EIN number, I submitted this paperwork or whatnot. That's not the issue. Just like Ryan wouldn't tell you the issue is not what you've done with personal profile and credit, it's what you understand, right? You need to understand this foundational paperwork with Randolph. I mean, this is over 150 pages worth of documentation. Do you know every sentence and every verb of your status correction and your SPC documentation?
I have a somewhat of a understanding of it.
And somewhat does not cover you for the rest of your life. The only thing you stand by is your paperwork. And unfortunately, here at Creditor Academy, we don't know other organizations' SPC and status.
Yes, I agree. So I was going to take your. I was gonna do your SBC and status correction as well, but I just really wanted to first protect the. It's really just life changing money I'm about to receive. I wanted to protect that first.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I wanted to take one of your business and trust class because I want to fix and flip houses while
Love it.
still learning what you guys are teaching.
Yeah,
So like,
I love it. I love it. You know, Saint, if I can ask you a personal question, just because we have Ryan here today, and he's ready to help you immediately, is how is your personal credit?
I have a 788.
788. Okay.
Yes,
Ryan, any comments to that on hearing what he's talking about?
But in the past, I have I don't mean to cut you off, but there's a group called Fund and Grow, and like a while back, I kind of did the whole business credit thing. So, but my honestly, I have it's under a LLC, but I really didn't focus on like building like a good profile. Like, yeah, I got the credit cards. I have like Amex, what is it? Amex, Chase. I have 2 Chase cards at Amex, South Bank. They gave me like 5, 6 different ones.
Okay. Amazing.
Let me put this in perspective for you. Can I put it? Oh, go ahead.
I have a question. What process did you use, Saint, to build your business credit? You use a company?
It was a group called Fund and Grow. So they once I already had good personal credit, they just gave me more personal credit cards, like 4 or 5. And then after that was established, they went back and they went to the banks. They did everything. It was like hands off. They went back and they got other credit cards. So I have
And
like
I was
5
just
or
curious.
6.
Yeah, I was just curious, you guys. I'm again, forgive if I interrupted, but I was just curious with that question.
Gotcha.
No way.
Ryan, what's your comments now? I'd love to hear your input.
Yeah, ask away. No, feel free. It's a community here. So the number one thing is, that's good, man. 788, that's an excellent score. You're in the highest case possible. But I just want to point out one thing. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let me see if I can do that. Do I have access to do that here? Let me just see. Can you guys see this tab? I wasn't planning on sharing this. This is actually usually something I do privately. But I want to show this website. Can you guys see this website here? iBankNet. Can you see this? This is some real game, guys.
Yes, we see.
Yeah, you guys can see it. So this website here. So a lot of us, like you mentioned that you got some business cards, right? Like 3 or 4 of them. Some Main Street banks. You mentioned like your Amex. A few other banks.
Yes.
Let me put it in perspective for you, right? So this website here, iBankNet, it lists every bank in the country. Every single one, every bank, credit union, and where they're located, their headquarters. So, and also how much they have in cash. Okay, so everyone's heard of, let's say, Amex, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, some other different, banks, right? What state are you in, by the way?
I'm in Georgia.
Georgia. Okay, so let's look at Georgia, for example. So we're going to go to total institutions. So we're going to see these are the number of banks that are headquartered in Georgia. I guarantee you've never heard of all these, probably most of them, right? So this one here, Cinevis Bank, they have $50 million in deposits. Ameris Bank, they have $22 million. Delta Community. Why is this important? Guys, you can get business credit with every bank in the country. Plus virtual banks. Every single one of these banks has a business credit card, a business line of credit, and a business term loan. When you build out your business credit profile, especially if you're in a position where you have good personal credit and you're going to use your person to co-sign for your business, if you have, let's say, 4 cards, you're literally just scratching the surface. There are unlimited amounts of banks that are going to offer you financial products that are 0% APR for, let's say, 6 months, 12 months, up to 18 months, and you can transfer those balances across. Typically, you start in your home state, and you're going to go after the ones that have the biggest bag, right? These ones right here, they have the most money in your home state. They're going to be the first ones to go after to get their sort of financial products, right? The key thing to mention here is if you want capital, working capital, for investment capital, whatever you want. This doesn't even mention as far as like your online based banks, right? This is just physical banks that have a headquarter in some certain state. So this is just one example, right? And I'll just show you, like, that's Georgia. And let's just look at, like, one of the biggest states in the country, New York, for finances. I think Charles Schwab is probably the biggest one here. But just give you some concept of how much money they have. It's $389,000 million in deposits and 564,000 million. Yeah, 564 million thousands. No, 1,000 million. You guys can figure it out in assets, right? Goldman Sachs is what it was. So they have this is just New York. So there are literally thousands of banks across the country that desperately want to give you money for whatever you want. All they care about is that you pay them back on time every time. That's it. As long as you stick to that principle and you make sure that you pay them back every time on time, then you can literally get up to millions of dollars, whatever you want, unlimited at 0% APR. So this is what you want to go after. You want to establish a business credit profile. You want to have what we call a thick file. Start establishing your trade lines, getting those reported into your business credit. And also, let me throw a kicker in there for you guys. That's just one business. It's one LLC. So you could get one LLC, go through every bank in the country, and then set up a new company and then get every product for the next LLC, right? So anyone who's coming to me and saying, oh, I have financial difficulties or some sort of financial worry, there is so much capital available for you. And then also, just to put it in perspective, you're really just scratching the surface of what's possible. So that's going to be your business credit, but also we didn't even talk about your reward points. So traveling, a free travel, like just for example, a little testimonial about myself quickly. So for the last 6 years, I've been traveling over the entire world, right? So I've traveled maybe 3 times, 4 times. I'm currently in Asia. I'm always traveling. And what I do is I use all my reward points from Chase, Amex, or whatever, company has a good way of redeeming them, that I just, pay for first class travel, 5-star hotel stays, free breakfast, the whole 9 yards, valet service, pretty much everything you could imagine, kind of celebrity lifestyle. So this is what's possible to you that's correct, John. So the iBankNet. So that's what's possible for you when you're able to access your business credit to the fullest potential. So you could really use that capital for whatever you want. So I just want to let you know, hey, you got good personal credit. You got a few business credit cards. Maybe some of them have a PG, maybe some of them don't. Great foundation. That's all it is, though. It's a foundation. So you can scale up and build from that and go as high, tall, or as wide as you want. To purchase real estate, you want a down payment, get a new card, put a down payment. There's so many games you can play, but just put that in perspective for you. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but I just want you guys to know, I see people struggling with finances, and they don't really understand the power of credit. And I just want to put it out there so that you understand what's possible. Now, is that helpful? Does that make sense?
Okay, so you can use your SSN still, even when you do create a decedent, right? Correct.
It's up to you. Yeah. So if you want to use your EIN only, you can use your EIN only. If you want to, we call it a PG. If you want to utilize a PG or a co-signer, if you want to co-sign for your business, you're definitely free to do that as well. It's 100% up to you. But really, what my perspective is, who cares? Just get the capital. Whether you're in the private, whether you're in the public, whatever your situation is, just find the best product that matches what you need and then go after it, rather than being stuck and like, oh, is this right? And let me tiptoe over here and tiptoe over here. It's better to just go after whatever you need, because really you can't make any mistakes. You can really fix things retroactively anyway. A lot of us kind of get stuck on taking action because we're worried about, oh my God, what if I make a mistake? I don't fully understand this. I don't fully understand that. Sometimes you got to jump in the pool head first, and then maybe sometimes swim on the way. Learn how to swim on the way sometimes.
I was. What? Just one thing I just need clarification is where like where do you suggest I put a large amount of money in? Like you know the checks you showed in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you like you mentioned living in a private, so am I just no longer creating like a broker account in my SSN, or am I using the private banker EIN and creating it that way?
You're talking
Deposit.
about where do you hold the assets?
Yes.
It's up to you. I would probably put it in real property. So you could have it in real estate. You could have it in the stock market. You could put it in a high yield savings account. You could put it in HSA. You could put it in a business. You could invest in a business. There's 1,000 options. I mean, that's really up to you. I wouldn't say there's any right or wrong answer as far as being in the private or being in the public. It's just cash. What do you want to do with your cash in order to have it grow you want to plant seeds, right? Where do you want your seeds to grow? So do you want to plant some money here, plant some money here, plant some money here? And it's all about kind of what plants do you want to grow? So where do you plant that money in the beginning? You don't want to just have it sit there because really cash is going to devalue. You're going to have just lose, 8% year over year unless you can offset inflation by having, some other process. I mean, yeah, you could use an IUL. That's definitely great. If you have a whole life insurance, you can put that money there. That's a really great strategy because it's going to build usually about 6 to 8% interest year over year, minus the fee, usually 3%. But either way, there are a lot of options, Saint. And so that's right. What I'd also recommend is perhaps getting, even a wealth management company if you really, if that comes to fruition. But what I'd be hesitant about, what I see a lot in the movement, I don't know if this is your case at all, but a lot of people start doing some of these processes and getting stuck in this mindset. Oh, I'm going to cash out my treasury. I'm going to be sitting on $1 billion. And I've just not seen it ever happen yet. So I hope that's not what you're looking forward to. And what I want to suggest.
No. It's my situation is completely different.
Perfect.
Like that's why I want to take his trust. I want to take your trust class like in either this week or the next couple of weeks. I want to operate out of business trust.
Yeah. So I would definitely, Paul Michael's the one teaching the trust class, but definitely get in the academy because you want to learn how to, manage your trust, obviously, in your personal assets, which Paul Michael, I'm sure, will talk about. But also, guess what? The best time to access credit is when you don't need it. That's the best time to get it because heaven forbid, God forbid, knock on wood, everything, all things considered, if there's ever a time where you need it, that's when they don't want to give it to you. So when you got a lot of money, that's the best time to get credit, and that'll set you up and give you kind of a back foundation so that you're fully protected. So I don't know, that's just a whole bunch of different little ideas to kind of put it in perspective for you. But ultimately, I hope things work out for you. I'd like to see you in the class.
All right, thanks.
Amazing. Wow. We covered a lot today. Wow. A lot of detail. Thank you, Ryan, for sharing that. I got to tell you, you love what you love to teach, which is business credit and personal credit in general. I love to teach how to operate in the private. Actually, when I first got into this movement, business trusts, private membership associations interested me the most. And then Randolph, being the person for status correction and for your SPC, really shed a lot of light onto how it is to become private. So each one of us instructors are very passionate about what we do. Today, we talked a lot about how to discharge about $300,000 in taxes. Randolph told you how to simply do it. It really is that simple. I've been discharging my corporate credit for years now. Personal credit has not been a big issue at all. But then again, you need to have your SPC and your status correction already done. I don't know about other organizations, SPC and status correction, just because, as well as I don't know about other organization or gurus, business trusts, or PMAs. Just like I don't know about other organizations, as Ryan would say, about how they instruct you on how to do business credit or private credit. or personal credit even. So we have everything at the Academy specifically tailored to your learning for guaranteed success. And we've been working on that for a number of months. The Academy is complete. If you want to reach out to our Academy to talk to an educational instructor or counselor, excuse me, you can go to creditoracademy.com, and an educational counselor will sit with you and bring you through the whole Academy and what we offer. And we'll be excited to do that. For everybody who's visiting us on YouTube, we hope that you subscribe and hit the notification bell, as well as join our private Facebook group. If you want to join our after hours class where we conclude everything that we talked about today, you can go to creditoracademy.com to hit the Tuesday and Thursday link. I'll be excited to see you all this Thursday once again for our live, where we'll discuss even further how to make yourself successful as well as even more private. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your loved ones as I'm in my new abode and whatnot. So bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Oh, we're in the after hours. David, what'd you think, man? David,